when I swore I would never go back. I was blind to the truth, didn't know what I had. I was running, I was searching, every place I turned for healing, my broken and last. Take me back to the place that feels like home, to the people I met when I swore I would. Was a time that I swore I would never go back. I was blind to the truth, didn't know what I had. I was running, I was searching, but every place I turned for healing left me more broken than the last. Take me back to the place that feels like home, to the people I can depend on, to the faith that's in my bones. Take me back to a preacher and a verse where they've seen me at my worst, to the love I had at first. Oh, I wanna go to church. Tried to walk on my own, but I wound up lost. Now I'm making my way to the foot of the cross. It's not a trophy for the winners, it's a shelter for the sinners, and it's right where I belong. Take me back to the place that feels like home, to the people I can depend on, to the faith that's in my bones. Take me back to a preacher and a verse where they've seen me at my worst, to the love I had at first. Oh, I wanna go to church. I wanna go to church. Oh, more than an obligation, it's our foundation, the family of God. I know it's hard, but we need each other. We're sisters and brothers. Oh, take me back to the place that feels like home, to the people I can depend on, to the faith that's in my bones. Take me back to a preacher and a verse where they've seen me at my worst, to the love I had at first. Oh, I wanna go to church. Yeah, I wanna go to church. Oh, I wanna go. Wanna go. Oh, I wanna go to church. Oh, I wanna go to church.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. As your pastor, I officially open up our first Knightsville Methodist Church conference. But Marion is so gracious to take notes in the absence of Myra, who is your new church secretary, your council secretary. Is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
Okay, we have some seconds. Okay, Marion, you know who they are. Okay. So as we go, what I want to remind you, especially what the video did, the video was all talking about going back to your church. It's a place which you've all started. And I know all of you have memories of the church in which you started at. It could be here. It could be the one I had that's same with Alex Schumacher. It goes back to Frederick, Maryland's United Methodist Church, where I was just a little one, where they made me, my mother made me sing in the choir. But I was so bad they wouldn't allow me to sing. They made me mouth. And that is a true thing, true statement. I've told you that once before. So when I sing, they always turn me off here. But if we could go back one slide, another slide, right there. This week, today, our name changes. As you noticed as you came in, we updated the sign this week, and we're now Knightsville Methodist Church. We have been officially left the United Methodist Church. But as I've told you through this journey, which started a year and a half ago, the name on the sign doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's who we are, and we are the church, and none of us are going to change because of that. Now, if Josh shows up next week with tight jeans on and they've all slashed and he thinks he's now a worship leader like some of these mega churches, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. We don't need Josh going overboard. But again, not going to happen, is it? No. Too hot. So, as Jesus said, as he told Matthew and he told his disciples, and specifically Peter, he said, I will build my church. And that's what we will do here at Knightsville Methodist. We will allow Jesus to build the church he wants us to build through your gifts, your talents, and your graciousness in reaching out into this community and being a safe haven, a place where people can come and, one, find Jesus. Second place, they can be loved on by the most loving place in town. And then we will be able to do what we do really good. When we see a need, we will continue to meet a need at this church. Why? Because we're a church that matters. And it doesn't matter what the sign says or what the logo says. We're still who God called us to be here at this place at this time to carry out the mission of building and making disciples for Jesus Christ. The psalmist wrote this 800 years prior to Jesus coming to the world. He said, unless the Lord builds a house, its builders labor in vain. You are the builders that God is calling upon to move this church in the direction that he has had us moving for so many years. And those years started, as the next slide shows up, it started with 147 years of tradition. Here in this community, back in 18, give me that one more slide, and I'll come back to that. I put them in different orders. I'm on a roll. In 1876, just a little group of people here in this community called Knightsville started a church called Old John Wesley Church. And then 2 years later, it became Branch Methodist Church. And Branch Methodist Church got on a circuit with 3 other churches in this community. They had a pastor that got on a horse, and that's what he did. He rode from one church to the next every Sunday morning. And then the last church that he stopped at, guess what? They had to feed him lunch. He had a pretty good job. We got to figure out how we work that back in the scenario. And then if you look at it, it went all the way to 1958. And then in 1958, this small community of Knightsville made a decision that they wanted to be on a charge by themselves and to become Knightsville Methodist Church. And we had the Knight family and the Patrick family lead that charge in this community to do that, along with many other families. I don't want to leave anybody out. But for 10 years, it was just Knightsville Methodist Church. Pretty good place. They built that sanctuary that we currently have.
But we still were part of a charge.
Yes, okay, we're still part of a charge. We had, I think, Stallsville in that charge with
We were Boone Hill.
Boone Hill, okay. But we were just Knightsville Methodist Church, and that's what the sign said. And it built that beautiful sanctuary and all the work they put into it. The trustees at that time, I mean, it was Francis's grandfather and her father were instrumental in laying the first brick here. I look at what happened this week. I mean, a lot of work happened this week by your trustees. If you go over to the fellowship hall and see what the men of the church did this week, they've transformed the fellowship hall. We've got beautiful new baseboard molding. All the doors have been painted. We've created a room for the children to have in this church. And then upstairs, with the help of trustees and through Judy Stewart's son, what a blessing. Judy Stewart's son came this week with his team and transformed 2 of the rooms upstairs that the trustees had prepared for our youth. The floors are just, I mean, they're brand new. So the youth will move all their stuff and they'll have all of upstairs at the church. So things are happening from what was established in 1958. And then in 1968, I think you all know the story. So the purpose of today's meeting is twofold. You got a ballot when you came in. The ballot is that we're considering today, with your vote, to move to a new denomination called the Global Methodist Church. That came from a lot of hard work by people that were on the transition team, the denominational transition team. If you were on that team, just raise your hand. They put a lot of hours and work into making their recommendation to your church council on the future denomination that they thought we should align with. What was the best alignment for us as a church to continue to grow, continue to do the great things we do, but also work with potentially other churches that have the same mindset as us to just reach out and be the hands and feet of Jesus in this community. So they made a recommendation to your church council that we should go in the direction of the Global Methodist Church. It's the fastest growing denomination in the world right now. Over the last 2 years, over 5,000 churches have aligned with this denomination. In South Carolina alone, we're now over 100 churches have joined the Global Methodist Church of South Carolina. And if you look at the larger churches in the state of South Carolina, meaning United Methodist churches over the last 2 years, 7 of the top 10 have moved to become global. So there's a good footprint already in the state for the growth of the Global Methodist Church. So your church council unanimously endorsed that. So today, what we're going to ask is that you make your decision if you think that's the best direction for the church, because you are the church. You're the voting body of the church, so you'll make that decision. Second is we're going to ask that you look at the list of officers that we passed out to you. Those are the list of officers that majority of those have already been in those positions this past year. It is the recommendation of your nominating committee or church to probably just roll one more year with the same officers, seamless transition, and just go one more year with the same ones. And then with that, we'll cultivate new leadership, find positions for people to be involved. But if you look at the organizational structure of the church, we're not a church that's going to be led from top down with the leadership pushing things down. We're going to be a church that's going to be led from the bottom up with committee members and all the various committees, new committees that we have formed, and we're going to push things up to tell the church leadership, this is what we want to do. This is where we can find our talents. This is where God has given us our spiritual gifts, and we'll make it work. So, as you consider these two things, I want us to go back and look at our foundation. And I think our foundation, if you go back one more slide, goes back to just the book of Jude. Jude wrote this. He said, "Dearly loved friends, I've been planning to write you some thoughts about the salvation God has given us, But now I find I must write of something else instead, urging you to stoutly defend the truth that God gave us once for all to his people and to keep without change through the years. 148 years, we don't need change. We just need to live ourselves into what? The truth. And the truth is God's word. Every single bit of it. And I go back, it's like what Francis Chan says. He said, there's things I read in that book that, man, I disagree with. He said, but I have to step back and I have to realize that then I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Because God's word will not change. So what I ask you to do now, I've got a quick video just to show you on the Global Methodist Church very quickly. And I ask that you cast your ballots. Now that you've cast your ballots, I ask that you fold your paper. I ask that you pass it to one person at the end of the table. I don't care which end. I want them all to be in one area. Then I'm going to ask that Kay has our ushers for the day raise your hand with the ballots, and our ushers will go around and collect them in the boxes. Okay.
Good to see you.
This week. Okay. Early this week. So we plan ahead. Okay. Right here. Okay, is anybody else having any ballots that they're holding that they want to turn in? Okay. Go ahead. Talk to him.
So Pastor Robert asked to play this song as we enter the new chapter of this church. I don't want to hear anymore. Teach me to listen. I don't want to say anymore. Give me a vision that you could move this heart to be set apart. I don't need to recognize the man in the mirror. I don't want to change your plan for something familiar. I can't waste a day. I can't stay the same. I wanna be different. I wanna be changed. Till all of me is gone, and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world will see There's something different. So come and be different in me. I don't want to spend my life stuck in a pattern. And I don't want to gain this world but lose what matters. So I'm giving up everything because I want to be different. I want to be changed till all of me is gone. And all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world will see. There's something different, so come and be different. I know that I'm far from perfect, but through you the cross says I'm worth it. So take this beating in my heart, come and finish what you started. When they see me, let them see you. 'Cause I just wanna be different, I wanna be changed till all of me is gone. And all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world will see. There's something different, so come and be different. Just wanna be different, so come and be different in me.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. It's good when you've got talent like we have here at the church that all of a sudden I can call, I don't know, was it late yesterday afternoon, and said, guess what we need for you to do? And he said, oh, I'll be glad to do it. So it's a blessing. Before we continue on, and I'll announce the results and that kind of stuff, our mission team that went to Honduras successfully returned safely last week. For those that were on the mission team, please stand. We're really blessed that Knightsville was represented down in the jungles of Honduras last week. I heard about your trip. I heard we got a little meeting at 5 o'clock maybe today to discuss that. But Hank, we hope that you're feeling better. We know that you probably drank some water that wasn't that good, and we're just glad you're here this week. Well, I heard what happened. But again, likewise, our youth returned this past week from Look Up. We had a first. We had a broken arm, broken wrist. The Tucker's granddaughter, Addison, broke her wrist, but she'll get a new cast, put it on this week, and get a new pretty fluffy color, so we'll be able to sign that, but that's good. But she will definitely organize that youth room upstairs because she's got grandma's touch to do that. Well, Lynn just gave me the thumbs up that we are now, the next slide, that we are now going to be a part of the Global United Methodist family, and I congratulate you on that. This is going to be good stuff. Two things. One is on the first week in August, 8th and 9th. Tim, is that correct? 8th and 9th is the Behold Conference? 7th, 8th, and 9th. Clergy go on the 7th, and laity are invited for a big, it's just a big retreat at Mount Horeb Church in Lexington. If you'd like to be a part of that and go up with the team, I mean, we've got 18 people already going. We'd love to take more. Go on the GMC South Carolina website, find out about Behold, and we'd love to take a caravan of a lot of folks up there. So just let me know if you're interested in that, and I can add you to our hotel block. We got reduced rates to stay at the Embassy Suites for one night. So it starts like at 10 o'clock, I think 9 or 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, so we'll leave here and then caravan on up, and we'll just make arrangements. So if that's something that you'd like to do, I'd love to have you do it. Likewise, 2 days later on the 10th, on Saturday, at the 10th at Point Hope Global Church, which is now a partner with us in our missions here in the community. They're located in Mount Pleasant. They're going to hold a big women's retreat, a one-day, starting I think at 10 o'clock, going to about 2 o'clock, and they've got Susan Kent coming in to be the guest speaker. You don't want to miss that, ladies. That is good stuff. So, as we now welcome to United Methodist Church, we got someone that would like to welcome us.
Good morning, Knightsville Methodist Church. My name is Eric Grayson, and I'm the president of the Global Methodist Church of South Carolina. And today it is my great joy to welcome you and congratulate you on becoming members of the Global Methodist Church of South Carolina. It has been quite a journey, but we are in a denomination that is committed to historic Methodism and biblical Christianity. A few of our key priorities are that we are standing steadfast on the Lordship of Jesus Christ and on the primacy and inspiration of God's Holy Scriptures. And where we're going as a movement is that we believe that the people called Methodist are called once again to be revived in the work of intentional discipleship, of leader development, and of multiplying our witness. Several years ago, I served as a pastor in the Low Country region in North Charleston. I'm familiar with Knightsville Methodist Church. I'm friends with your pastor. And let me just say how excited I am and humbled I am to know that we get to join together again as partners in ministry in the Global Methodist Church. I also want to comment that I'm aware of the situation in your part of the state. I know that there are Methodists who are looking for a biblically grounded and traditional place to worship, and I'm so grateful that they will have an opportunity to find a spiritual home at Knightsville. But not only are there Methodists looking for a home, there are men and women, boys and girls across the Low Country, our state and world that need a saving relationship with Jesus Christ, and they need to experience the love of God through the church. And I thank you that Knightsville has said, yes, we are willing to live into the Scriptures and to embody the hope of the gospel. Thank you for joining hands with us in partnership in the ministry in the Global Methodist Church, and welcome to your new church home.
Okay. But I preface and I go back to what I told you earlier. We're still going to be the church we've always been. We were started as just a John Wesley little chapel, then Branch Methodist, then Knightsville Methodist, then Knightsville United Methodist, and now we'll be Knightsville Methodist Church, part of the Global Methodist Church family. But that's not going to change what we do here. We're going to still be those people God has called to reach out to people in this community, and also when we send disciples into the world to mission out into far-known places such as Africa, and then now Honduras, and who knows where God calls us to go next. So we're not going to change, but we may get a little bit larger. Why? Because we do what God calls us to do, to go out and make disciples for Jesus Christ. That's how we become larger. We'll always be the most loving place in town. So as we close up this session of our first church conference, just to let you know, we're going to close down. You got about 5 minutes. If you would like to grab a cup of coffee, coffee corner's available. We're going to get organized. We have to reset the slides up for the worship service, and we'll be ready to have worship in about 5 minutes. So do I have before we go, I'd like to go to prayer. Let's bow our heads. Again, at this church, what do? We open up our hearts, we open up our minds, our souls, and we open up our hands to God's presence this day. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just say thank you. Thank you for a church that consistently and constantly keeps you first and foremost in everything we do. We thank you for all those that are here this day. We ask a blessing upon them and on their homes. Show favor upon them. Be gracious to them. Provide them with your peace and your comfort. And dear God, as we close up this meeting, we just give thanks and praise to your Son, Jesus. And then the entire church then said, amen. Do I have a motion to close this meeting? And is there a second?